During World War II, Japan developed dozens of tank designs. Light, fast, some were genuinely creative. But there was a brutal truth. Most Japanese tanks were never meant to win tank-on-tank battles, not because the engineers were incompetent, not because the soldiers were cowards, but because of doctrine, terrain, and the kind of war Japan chose to fight. Today, we're going to walk through every Japanese tank of World War II, and why, from the very beginning, their fate was almost already sealed. Before we talk about individual tanks, we need to understand one thing. Japan did not see tanks as a decisive weapon. To them, tanks were infantry support vehicles, reconnaissance tools, mobile platforms for jungles, swamps, and small islands. Meanwhile, Germany prepared for armored warfare. The Soviet Union prepared for a sea of steel. The United States prepared for massive industrial production. Japan prepared for jungles and colonial warfare. And that reality was reflected in every tank they built. Type 92, Jusosha, and Type 94, TK tanks or scout vehicles. Type 92, Jusosha 1 of Japan's earliest tankettes. Thin armor, weak armament, high speed. It worked well against poorly equipped Chinese forces, but in a modern war, it had almost no chance of surviving. Type 94, TK, a more refined version, cheaper, more mobile, mass-produced. But the core problem never changed. They were built for reconnaissance, not for fighting enemy tanks. Type 97, TK, light, agile, and extremely fragile. Fully rotating turret, good visibility, high mobility. On paper, it was a step forward. But on the battlefield, its armor couldn't stop anti-tank weapons. Its gun was far too weak against Allied armored vehicles. As the war escalated, the TK turned into little more than a moving target. Type 95, Hago, early success, late war failure. The Type 95 Hago was Japan's main light tank. In the early stages of the war, Malaya, the Philippines, it performed very effectively. Why? The enemy had few tanks. Jungle and mountainous terrain favored it. But then, everything changed. When facing M4, Sherman, M3/M5, Stuart, the Hago's 37mm gun was no longer capable of penetrating enemy armor. From hunter, the Hago became the hunted. Type 89, Igo, and Type 97, Chiha, medium tanks. The Japanese way. Type 89, Igo, the first medium tank domestically produced by Japan. Slow, heavily riveted, low-velocity gun. It was reliable in the 1930s. When World War II began, it was already obsolete. Type 97 Chiha. This was the backbone of Japan's armored forces. Balanced design, a gun well suited for infantry support. But there was a fatal flaw. It was never designed to fight other tanks. When facing a Sherman, the Chiha had almost no chance in a head-on engagement. Shinhoto Chiha, too late to turn the tide. Shinhoto Chiha high-velocity 47mm gun greatly improved anti-tank capability. At last, Japan had a tank that could threaten the Sherman. But it arrived too late, produced in too few numbers, not nearly enough to change the outcome of the war. Chihi and Chinu, progress locked down. Type 1, Chihi welded hull, thicker armor. Type 3, Chinu 75mm gun, designed for the defense of the Japanese home islands. The problem? They almost never left Japan. Fuel shortages, steel shortages, priority given to the Navy and Air Force. Japan's best tanks never truly saw combat. Heavy tanks, a failed experiment, Type 91 and Type 95. Heavy tanks, multiple turrets, bulky, extremely slow. They represented a path Japan wisely abandoned early on. Too complex, too resource-intensive. Why were Japanese tanks doomed from the start? Not because the engineers were incompetent, but because a doctrine that downplayed armored warfare, priority given to the Navy and Air Force, fighting in jungles and islands, not open plains, limited industrial capacity, a war that dragged on far longer than expected. When the nature of the war changed, Japan couldn't adapt in time. Machines born for the wrong war. Japanese tanks were not junk. They were simply built for a different kind of war. And when the war changed, they were left behind. If you'd like to go further, why did Japanese tanks fail in the Pacific? Or why did Japan never try to copy the Sherman? Let me know in the comments.